tennis fans across the world will yet again have another opportunity to enjoy the French Open, which is starting today at the Roland Garros Stadium in Paris. The French Open is one of the 4 Grand Slam tennis tournaments held every single year, and it's the only one played on clay. It's the second one of the year. Well, the clay court Grand Slam is regarded as one of the most prestigious tennis tournaments in the world, and it will finish on the 8th of June this year. So to help us unpack what lies ahead and what the fans can expect as the competition starts, we are joined virtually by tennis analyst Bruce Davidson. Bruce, thanks so much for joining us. It started out in 1891 as the Championnat de France, and only if you were in a French club could you play. And then the stadium was named after the French aviator Roland Garros, and now we know it as that. But perhaps give us your views and, your memories of this tournament in the modern era and what makes it so special.
Well, I call it the Paris Rendezvous. It's Roland Garros is unlike any tournament, whether for its place as the only clay major on the calendar, or maybe the iconic grounds nestled in the French capital's leafy suburbs. It's a beautiful Grand Slam, and it's different to all the others. I call it the sexy chic slam because the women go there, they dress up, they look good. It's not brash like America. It's not prompt like England. It's not party like Australia. It's just got a touch of flair, and chic maybe is the best word for that. Typical Parisian type feeling, and because it's played on clay, it's somewhat different. It's long, grueling points. The umpires sometimes have to get off their chair to go and check a mark on the court. It's definitely different. It's a beautiful Grand Slam, and it's in a beautiful part of Paris. As I said, leafy suburbs, and the stadium is magnificent. I've been there 18 times, funny enough, over the years.
Oh my gosh.
And I've seen how the stadium has transformed. And, we played the Olympic Games there last year. It was used for the tennis event at the Olympics, and they've done such a magnificent job. It really is a sport icon and a tennis lover's dream to visit.
18 times, and I still have it on my bucket list. You lucky fish. I'd love to go. And you took the words out of my mouth in terms of, the chic air that it has in Paris, but also the athleticism required. Now, obviously, there might be a player that can come and upset that Sinner and Alcaraz final. They won't meet each other until those championship rounds because of their seedings. Do you think there is a player that can do that?
Well, I think that we've got a very interesting tournament this year in both the men and women's singles. We know that Jannik Sinner's come back from a doping ban, but he's playing fantastic tennis to get to the final of Rome. Alcaraz is definitely, I think, the favourite. He's won in Monte Carlo. It was his first one in Monte Carlo leading up to Paris, and he won in Rome, beating Sinner in the final. He's going to go into Roland Garros with plenty of confidence to defend his title. But going back to your question, we can't write off someone like Novak Djokovic. He just won in Geneva a warm-up tournament, a small warm-up tournament on clay yesterday, and it was his 100th title. He joins Jimmy Connors and Roger Federer as winning over 100 titles on tour. So you've got to watch him. I like the American Taylor Fritz. He's playing good tennis. Casper Ruud is another one that you can't ignore. He's the Norwegian that really has found good form on clay. But I do think that we must look at Alcaraz as the favorite going in. On the women's side, Aryna Sabalenka has never got to a Roland Garros final. She's dominant this year. She'll want to do that. And then, of course, the queen of clay, Iga Swiatek, also comes out of a doping ban, but going for a record 4 Roland Garros titles in a row. The one that I'm watching in the women's singles is this Mira Andreeva, the 6th seed. She's a young kid who's going to win Roland Garros sometime. And then, of course, the American Coco Gauff.
I actually was going to say, do you think Andreeva could be, the upset player there? And I was going to ask you about Djokovic, and now that you've shared that, perhaps because we've never had you on the show, he really has struggled to find his form the way he likes to do it, in a very dominant style. He obviously cut ties with Murray and his team. Just share some insights into what you've been seeing around that Djokovic camp.
Well, it's been a very interesting situation with Djokovic. You must remember that he won the gold medal on these courts last year in Paris. And he knows Roland Garros well, having won titles there. Although Rafael Nadal has dominated Roland Garros for years, 14 titles in 14 finals. And I know that this afternoon after play, the opening day, they're going to be honoring him. And if anybody can watch that on telly, it's going to be an emotional farewell for Rafael Nadal. But let's go back to the tennis and Novak Djokovic. Winning in Geneva is a big confidence boost yesterday. It's not a big tournament, but he is such a danger player. He's seen at number 6 at Roland Garros, and he puts so much effort into his game. He's so fit. He has to be given an outside chance, but I haven't seen him play the tournament play that I've seen him play for years. That's made him a dominant figure. Since he won the gold in Paris last year at Roland Garros, he hasn't won a single tournament. In fact, he's been a little bit disappointing, and that's why I think he's got rid of Andy Murray. But never say never.
You can never say never to Novak.
If I had to see him in a dark alley in the night, I'd run away very fast.
Never say never to Novak Djokovic. Bruce Davidson, a tennis analyst, thank you so much for chatting to us. We're talking about the French Open, or Roland Garros as it's known, which kicks off today. 256 men and women in the singles field, but it's the first time that the 14-time winner, the King of Clay, will not be playing, and he'll be honored there. So you've got to watch that. I'm sure it will be very special. That's all we have time for in your sports news for this hour.